Howdy peeps, time for another how I do video. I've noticed of late a few people have been having issues with applying and removing various different types of washes. So I thought, as I was going through and doing the washes on the gear bay doors for my 1/24 Typhoon, it might be an idea to just show how I do it. So, where to start? Well, I've got various bits in various stages of being done. We've got the, let's move the advertisements out of the way. Shiny new cutting mat from the girlfriend for my birthday. And the bits. Now, I'll be using two different types of washes for this. I'll be using an enamel wash and a clay wash, which is a mix of UMP's dark dirt and concrete, just to lighten it up a tad. Now, one of the things to remember is paint chemistry. I'm bashing into the camera. If you've clear coated your model with an enamel clear coat, you don't want to be using an enamel wash on it, because the thing that takes the wash off is going to take the clear coat off and quite probably the paint underneath. So you're going to have issues. Secondly, use a good clear coat. Something like Alclad Aqua Gloss or Tamiya X22. Is it the Gunzi GX100? I've seen more models ruined or binned, let's say, because it's always recoverable. Binned because of issues with using Future. Because, let's be honest, it isn't a gloss varnish. It's a hardwood floor treatment. Yeah, it dries shiny-ish, but it's the money you save on buying a 750ml bottle of that for a £5 or whatever it is, rather than a 120ml bottle of Alclad Aqua Gloss. I mean, I've had that bottle a year and a half and there's still got some left in it. And the amount of models I build, you know, that goes to show how far it lasts. The amount of money you save, yeah, it's cheaper until you end up throwing a kit in the bin, and then it's a lot more expensive. So it's just not worth the hassle. I've got a tub of it, and I'll show you. I have a tub. You can see how dusty it is because it just sits under there. There's the clue. Multi-surface wax. Deep cleans protects. For laminate, yeah, it's not a gloss varnish. There are other varieties, but again, if you go with a water-based varnish and you use a water-based wash, sometimes that can react. But if you stick with the Alclad or the Tamiya, as long as you let them cure, they're virtually foolproof and bomb-proof. Leave them overnight and you're sorted. Anyway, bit of a rant there, I do apologise. So for the aluminium coloured side, I'm going to be using the MIG Productions Dark Wash. Again, like anything, give it a good shake up. Good job I'm in single for all. Yeah, well, I'm not now, so we won't go there. And I'm going to apply this much as, well, I'll apply it as a pin wash. So if I zoom in a little, we'll see if we can get this actually on camera. Be a result if we can. Especially if we get this on camera and not my big ugly head. Right. It's going to white out a bit, I do apologise. But anyway, we are... So can we move the wash into shot? If we zoom out a little, we can. do. So you can just see that I am actually using the wash. I've just shook up. There we go. Alright, so not too much on the brush because we're trying to be accurate. As this model has a lot of raised rivet detail, I'm going to just run it along the raised rivets, allowing it to flow around. You can use a little bit of white spirit or turpentine substitute to make it flow a bit better, but I tend to find it flows just fine as it is for me anyway. Again, this is more of a pin wash. I've chosen to do the two different. I'm pulling this way out of shot, aren't I? Yeah. I've chosen to do it the two different ways and show the two different methods. The pin wash and the sludge wash. Now obviously you can always mix your own washes up out of oils as well, and they pretty much work in the same way as the enamel ones do. Take an equally long time to fully dry. And use the same thinners, so it's all the same principles. Now for the panel lines, which are actually engraved, let's say, it's the correct term, you just touch a little along the panel line and it will flow along it itself. We'll just run a bit around that cable. Again, knock the excess off the brush, and we'll just pop. You might be able to see, you might not, but you can see where I'm putting the brush. That's showing that it's running along the panel lines. These are fairly fine panel lines, especially for an Airfix kit. So we put a bit in that little line in there as well. You know, you never see it. I'm not going to bother with that part because that's where the leg goes. Now to clean your brush when using an enamel wash, you do need white spirit. So I'm going to have a little Bob Ross moment here as I clean my brush in my little pot of white spirit, and just wipe it off on the kitchen towels on the bench. There we go. So we've do that up. So we have put the wash on that. Now we just need to wait for it to dry, and in the TV likes Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. So you can see I've applied the wash to all the raised rivets and the sunken detail. Now if it all depends how long you leave it to dry. I find if I don't leave it too long, I can wipe it off with the dry cotton wool bud or Q-tip, depending which side of the Atlantic you hail from. And we're just looking to clean it up and get rid of any excess. You can clean off as much as you want, or leave as much as you want. It depends how grubby you want the aircraft, really. This does chew through the Q-tips fairly rapidly, but we're not overly worried about those. We're literally rubbing it off dry here. If I'd have left it, say, overnight, or if it was a Humbrol wash, I'd left it the same amount of time, I would need to add some white spirit. I would need to slightly dampen down the Q-tip cotton wool bud. But as you can see, that is now detail wash has picked out all the rivets, given a little sort of a sheen of muck and mire on there. So, and there you can see the excess wash all on the end of the cotton wool bud. and there's one I'd already cleaned up. Now this one, yeah, we're going to have to go back to this one, I'm afraid. Now I'll show you the clay wash, which I poured some into a little pot just because I was mixing it. Give it another stir up, because this will settle quite badly and quite quickly. Clean off, just leave a cocktail stick in there. And for this I'm going to use a bigger, flatter brush. This is more of a sludge wash method, where you can go all over the entire piece if you like, but I tend to try and stick to the actual panel lines, or in this case rivet lines, and we literally just run it along all the lines, get it on all of the detail, just splatter it on. Again, this has just been clear coated and left overnight. It's got the Alclad Aqua Gloss on it. Just one coat. We're not. Just, you can see this is a lot easier to apply. It just takes a bit longer to clean up. There we go. Now we leave that to dry, and as the clay base washes are a water base, there may be a few other slight things in there, but there's nothing nasty in there. Don't taste too great, but you know, that's that done. And here's another one I prepared earlier that, as we can see, the wash is all dried on. Now again, depending on how dry or how smooth the surface is, you might need to dampen the Q-tip or use a piece of paper towel. And I think I'm going to have to, because this is dried on fairly well. So I shall grab a couple of fresh cotton wool buds. I'm having to reach around the camera mount here, I'm afraid. So we dip it, we roll it on our trousers to get the excess water out of it, and then we drop it straight in the bin. Right, so take two on that, and you literally just run it across the surface, and yep, it's going to guarantee it's going to stain the white, but you know, we can soon clean that off, that's not a problem. At this stage it will look nasty. And we switch to the other side to remove as much of the excess pigment and wash as we can. And yeah, I think I may have left it to dry a bit too long. I originally planned to do this and then realised the camera was flat, so I've had to recharge the camera. So this has been sitting for several hours. So we just again keep it going, it'll all eventually come off. So the other way of doing this is with a piece of damp kitchen towel. So I shall grab a square of kitchen towel, we don't need the whole thing. So as I highly unskillfully tear off a really uneven section of kitchen towel, grab our pipette and our clean water and just dampen the kitchen towel down. Work the water in so you haven't got just a wet patch. Because no one likes playing with just a wet patch. And again, as this is completely smooth, other than the surface detail being recessed, we can just rub off all the excess wash. You can see it's still coming off. go. And get it in shot would help. Job done. Now, as I said, oil washes work in exactly the same way because you're using the same solvent as the enamel based washes. Acrylic washes, I would say steer clear if you're looking for a panel line wash or anything like that. I do use the Citadel shades, well, they're washes, same difference. But I'll use them for covering the whole surface of the piece. I won't use them for trying to pick out individual rivets, because they're water based. Once they dry, you ain't getting rid of them, and they dry very quickly. Which again, I've seen people do where they've seen someone, you know, do that with a water based clay wash. As you can see, that's already dry nearly, and they've done the same with an acrylic wash, you know, the likes of a Citadel Agrax Earthshade. If it's going to focus, it might do, yeah, nearly. If you put that all over the model, you're just going to colour the whole model that shade of brown. They're designed more for figures and things like that, or when you're looking to change the hue or tint of a colour slightly. Yes, yeah. But for general basic use, I'll say, if you're unsure as to what you're doing, clay washes such as the Ultimate washes, they're the easiest by far. There's apparently no smell. I mean, I can't comment on whether they smell or not because I haven't got a sense of smell. But you know, water based, non-toxic, so you haven't got to worry about them at all. And the enamel washes, again, pre-made, they do smell apparently of diesel. I'm guessing White Spirit is a variant, another byproduct of the petrochemical process. I mean, yeah, they're, I think, what was it, eight quid, but I mean, that pot is going to last a long time. I mean, it's still 3/4 full, and I've had it a year and a half. So, yeah. Anyway, that will do for now. I shall get back on with probably the Typhoon, which I won't try and get in shot because the camera is in the way. I mean, yeah, there's your propeller. So I hope that sorts out a couple of minor problems, or quite major problems occasionally, that some people have been having with their washes, and keeps it relatively well explained. There's a thumb in shot. Way. So enjoy your hobby, folks. Again, don't be a prick. Buy the tools that suit you best, and don't be afraid to make mistakes and make up your own mind. Bye bye, peeps.